I'm Cass, and today we have guest starring Lee on Cass's Book Reviews. So it's Cass's Book Reviews starring Lee. And today we are going to be talking about The Thief and The Queen of Attolia.
One of my favorite book series, y'all!
There are 8 books in the series, and we've both read up through 7 because the 8th book came out
recently, like technically last year
yeah,
sometime.
October 2020.
Yeah.
And we just haven't
Got around to reading it
Right.
yet. We have a lot of books we like to read. Though
Yeah.
I've been reading some other things too.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through another series right now. But, so today, what we are going to talk about is just basically our favorite parts of the books. I mean, I read the first one a long time ago. I'm not sure how well I remember it. But
The King's really my favorite one out of the whole entire series, but I do really like the first book, at least in comparison to the second, but that's okay. Everyone's gonna have their own favorite book in the series.
yeah, I don't remember what my favorite book is.
I remember asking you once, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was Sophus's book?
Oh yeah, I love Sophus.
Yeah, because you're like, the King's okay, and I was like, how can you not like the King? And you're like,
I like The Thief a lot more. But I just...
That didn't happen, anyone!
But I have a tendency to like assassins and thieves more than noble people with their honor.
Well, you know, technically, spoilers. Technically,
Yes, spoilers. These
the-
always have spoilers.
technically, the thief becomes the king in that book. So, still a thief.
True. I always just consider Jen the thief. So,
Yeah, I get that, I guess. So, let's talk about the first book, shall we? So
Yes.
we'll put this one down for now,
Yes.
so we're ready to shove it in your face.
exactly. So, The Thief, it's backwards, by Megan Whalen Turner. This author I can actually pronounce, unlike the other two.
Okay, so I guess
She's
it's up
going
to me,
first.
because I have read this series too many times.
I've only read it once, and I'm pretty sure I read it 2 or 3 years ago.
So do I just tell them a bit about the book and what I thought about it?
Yeah.
So pretty much the thief is, he gets captured more or less. It starts with him kind of in a jail cell, and he, the Magus comes over and more or less recruits him for the job, and they go out together, and Eugenides still is technically a prisoner the whole entire time. But as we go through the story, we start to learn a bit more about him and how he like comes from Edis, and they want him to steal something, but he's not sure what it is, and it turns out to be this thing called Hermione's gift. And he has to, this whole entire time they're going through and telling legends of technically the gods in this world. As we go through the trip and we run into characters like, we get to meet the main characters, character cast like Sophus, who ends up getting his own book. The Magus, who is like, technically the Sophus is the apprentice to the Magus. That's the best way I can put that. And the one other guy who's also working under the Magus, and our favorite soldier guy who dies in the first book, whose name I sadly don't remember right now. Paul. Yeah, Paul sadly falls off a cliff.
He falls off a cliff?
Marth accurately, he attacks someone off of a cliff.
I thought he got stabbed. Who got stabbed in the first book?
So Eugenides did get stabbed, but he did not die.
Okay.
Because Hermione's gift kept him alive. Because what happened is, so they go more or less to this location. He has to search like this ruin-like place, and water fills in during the night, so he only has a limited time to search through this area. And he ends up finding Hermione's gift, which is actually protected by a bunch of gods that are in the room. But this has actually been a tradition by the country he comes from for the thief to steal this gift. So the gods obviously let him take it. As long as you're a thief, you are worthy.
Ooh, I don't remember that part.
Which is technically what it is. It's technically as long as you're the thief of the queen, you're fine. And so he's the thief of the queen, so he's allowed to take it. So he takes the jewel and he actually hides it from the Magus. He's like, I didn't find anything, sorry, there's nothing there, blah, 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 blah. And he hides the gift like in his hair as he braids it. Now, you don't really know this part though till later, because she's very clever at hiding these things and revealing it. She, the writer,
Oh,
she's very good at revealing it all at the end. So what is it? We find out that he is the thief that comes from the country Edis, and that he's actually like the queen's cousin, and that he's more or less robbed Sophus's country of this jewel that they were trying to find, and the Magus is like, you little at the end, and it's a beautiful story.
Yes.
I love it so much. I think my favorite, I don't know what my favorite part in that book would be. I think my favorite book is when they find out Eugenides can actually fight. They're like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
And Eugenides is like, yeah, I'm not just a thief. I have the sword skills. Because his dad was a soldier, so he taught him how to use his sword.
Yeah, I remember that part.
So I think that's like my favorite part. They're like, what is he gonna do? He's not gonna do. Oh, Joe. Oh.
I have to say, I think my favorite part of the series, I don't remember what book it is in, but it's when Jen, like, goes into the cabin and he loses his eyesight.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember that one a bit.
I really like that part just because it's just so heartbreakingly sad.
I know.
But the author does it in such a good way.
I think it was in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I really like how, like, the gods actually speak to him.
Yes, the gods are a legit thing, and Eugenides is like everyone's like, Eugenides is really suspicious about his gods. It's like, no, he just can legit hear them talking.
Right. Like, I think one of my favorite scenes, because it's one of those scenes, like, if any other author wrote it, I would have been like, oh, that makes me uncomfortable. But Jen, I think, was mourning something, and he gets extremely drunk. Because I'm pretty sure he's an alcoholic.
Oh, that was the King of Attolia, I think, where he gets super drunk.
That's
my favorite part in that. One of my favorite parts in that one. I love a lot of scenes of the King of Attolia. Sorry.
Let me say it. And so he's, like, walking along
the crenellations.
Yeah, of the roof, and he's, like, kind of, like, he's drunk, so he's staggering, and he gets to the end of one, and his...
Costas, the guard.
He was like, Jen, please come down. And Jen is like, no, or something like that. And he is like, he staggers, and an invisible hand pushes him back onto the roof and is like,
go to bed.
That's
so exactly. He goes, and he just a shove, and Costas catches him, and then he hears the words, go to bed. And Costas is like, what did I just hear? And the king's like, well, I can't disobey my god now, can I? And it's Linda, and Costas is like, what? It's
the best scene.
I love it so bad. And he's like, Costas, do you want to know something? It's one of my favorite scenes.
You do a really good drunk voice.
Thank you. And it's like, he's like, I just every now and then I just try the wine to see if the nature of it has changed. It never works. I love that scene so bad. That's like one of my favorite ones in The King. But I have like 5 different ones in The King, but that's not the one we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But we wanted to share that bit of a gem with you.
Yes. So do you want to briefly mention this one?
Yep, this is the Queen of Attolia. The second book.
Yep.
For the summary, again, spoiler, Jen loses his hand within like the first few chapters, his right hand.
Oh, that's what he was mourning.
Yeah, he lost his right hand. And as being a thief, his hands are very important to him. So he's kind of... This story is supposed to be told from the Queen of Attolia's point of view, but I feel like it was more told from the Queen of Edis's point of view, along with the Queen of Attolia, because they wanted you to know what was happening to Jen after he got his hand cut off. So it was kind of told from both of the Queen's point of view in my mind.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like it switched point of view more in this story than any of her other stories. Usually her point of view is very consistent.
Yeah.
But what is it? So Jen ends up losing his hand, and he's got to try to cope with the fact that he's lost his hand, and it's something he uses in his profession, so this is really crippling to him mentally.
His livelihood.
Yeah, so he's trying to, like, figure out how to even, like, hold a sword again, how to write again. So the good majority, half the book, is Jen just trying to get over this loss and move past it and, you know, get back on the horse, and then slowly throughout the story, we get to see that, in the Attolia Kingdom, we have the biggest big bad, the Medes, are introduced into the story.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hate that.
I know, the ambassador. I hate him. He suggested that his hand be cut off. She was just gonna hang him, and he's like, I'm cool with that. And it's like, Dad's like, no, how about we cut off his hand? And the Queen's like, okay. And then Eugenides is like, no.
Yeah.
So,
and
that happened.
The ambassador, like, turned out to be, like, evil. Like,
yeah, he was. The Medes are evil, period, kind of, in this story. They're manipulative. That's what they are.
And the ambassador was using the Queen of
Attolia.
Attolia.
And of course she knows she's being used because she's a smart woman. Like, she's a BA woman, guys.
Yeah, you can't swear.
Yes, I said BA. I didn't say it out loud, so just...
Anyways, continue.
Anyway, so she's knows that if she doesn't do something soon, because all of her court wants her to marry, because the times.
Yeah, it's like based in medieval times, basically.
But she kind of killed her first husband, so no one's like rushing for the position exactly either.
Wait, she murdered him?
Yeah, you don't remember? She got married, and then she put eucalyptus leaves in his wine, so when he drank it, he died. And after that, she had no problems. Practically, she put down her old court, got them all wrinkled in, and she's like, but I can't keep doing this alone, was more or less what had happened. And she's like, so she decides somewhere through the story that Eugenides is going to be her king, and it happens near the end, and she wears his earrings that he gave her that one time he was sneaking through the palace the day he got caught, which I thought was very endearing, but also kind of makes for a sort of messed up relationship, but it works.
Yeah. I really like Jen's and the Queen's relationship because
they're so cute together.
It's enemies to lovers.
Yeah, and
trope.
And what is it? Attolia's always he's like, oh, is it in the King? The things that happen in the King as well, how they deal with that, and the closeness of the relationship is also amazing. Yeah. I love this writer to hell and back, guys. She's amazing. And so, was at the end of the book, Eugenides does end up being king, even though he doesn't really want to be, but he wants to marry the Queen of Attolia because he has fallen in love with her actually before, sometime in the first book.
It's so sweet. I love it.
Happened. So yeah. So that's kind of how that book ends. I mean, there's a lot more war and like undertones of shenanigans and stuff that happens, and Jen finally coming out of hiding and Attolia not knowing what's happening because even though she has spies, they're not doing their job right.
This author, I don't like reading about politics in books,
but she makes it interesting.
Yeah, she does a really, really good job with writing the politics because I have several books, like the basis, like. It just seems so intriguing to me. I'm so excited to read the book, and it's just completely laden in politics. And I'm like, no, why? And one of them, I wasn't even able to get like halfway through.
Because I mean, with her, she always like does a really good way of weaving it in, and it's still making sense. Like you don't even really notice it's the talk of politics sometimes.
Right.
So it's really awesome series. I suggest it. I can bring the King book next time. Do that, but she's probably gonna film a few without me before we get to do that. So
yeah.
So I'll come back to star and do the King because I love this series.
Yeah, so because she knows the plot a lot better than I do of books.
We started on the audiobooks and then we bought the real books, and then let's just say I've at least listened to the audiobooks probably 10 times.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else to add?
That's about it. Everything else that I really liked happened in the books after that.
Okay.
I still really like the first two.
So, do you want to give your rating of these two books?
5 stars for both of them, I would say, just because...
It's 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10? Yeah. Oh, it's 1 out of 10, then 10 for both.
Yeah.
Because she does a really good job explaining things, and the twist I didn't see coming came, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And honestly, even though it's like I do have my favorite books out of the series, all of them are brilliant in their own right, and I can't, out of personal opinion, be like, I don't like this book as much, so I'm going to give it this many stars, because the writing quality is great. And if that's what I'm grading off of, 10, for sure.
So I know I typically mark books very high, because I've only done, so far, 2 of my favorite books, and this is another of my favorite series, so I'm going to have to go with 10 as well, because I really don't see how she could make it any better, in my opinion. Quality, like Lee said, is amazing.
And the way she ties everything together is just poetry.
I highly recommend. Like, if anyone sees this, go read it now.
Yes. It's technically historical fiction for you, some of you guys. She's based it off some things in history, at least cultures.
And I don't really even like historical fiction all that much.
So that's how you know it's good. It's sort of like how, if I read a horror book, you know it must be good because I'm willing to read it.
Yeah. So, hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Well, she probably will.
Yeah.
And this side of the channel, anyway.
Yes. I'll see you next time for the next book review. Bye.